Good, looking good. They take two straight from the Blue Jays. We're rolling. The offense was great. Pitching absolutely amazing, Paul. But here we are, and I know it's the top 5. What are the biggest events in Seattle sports history? And we're talking about events happening in Seattle, and this could be it today. Yeah. This could be it when you consider what's on the line. U.S. hasn't been in a quarterfinal since 2002. Last time they beat Belgium in the World Cup, Paul, 1930. 1930.
Yeah, and there are some people that would say this is a rematch of the 1930s. I mean, come on. These are two totally different teams, Chris.
Do you think that 1930 Belgium team is really thinking about this one, Paul?
Yeah. Well, all right, let's get to the big news over the weekend regarding the U.S. soccer star. Forward Falorin Balogun received a red card in the last match, which would have meant an automatic suspension for tonight's match against Belgium. But that red card has been suspended by FIFA, allowing Balogun to play tonight. The Royal Belgian Football Association has appealed that decision. They had to get it in by 5 a.m. today. UEFA Europa League statement: when the certainty of rules is no longer guaranteed by its guardians, the integrity of the game is at stake, and the credibility of a competition is undermined. We express our disbelief at such an unprecedented, incomprehensible, and unjustifiable decision. That's their reaction. Here's the reaction from the American squad.
We're all happy for, we found out this morning, and I think for us, just to know that we're able to have that kind of, guy that come in that has an impact like he has, knowing that we're able to kind of prepare, especially the day before the game with him, I think that just makes us even more confident.
He's been training with us. It's not like he went home. He's still around. We're going to prepare as we normally do, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Number one, Paul, huge boost for Team USA. Balogun leads the team in scoring in this World Cup. He stretches the defense. He creates room for Pulisic and for Malik Tillman. Number two, it wasn't a red card. I'm sorry, Belgium, it was not a red card. This is the right decision that he is playing today. I understand your frustrations. I understand there were some people, Paul, saying, is it 4th of July or April Fool's Day? No, it's the right decision. That was not a red card.
Okay, I disagree with you. I think it's the wrong decision. I agree with you that it wasn't a red card because they gave it to him on that slow-mo replay where you could see there was nowhere else to put his feet. He didn't come in flying in with his cleats up and nail the guy in the back of the leg. So that initial call, I thought, was garbage. But when they do give you the red card, Chris, I think that it does set a precedence. Like, okay, well, if someone gets a red card today, are they going to have a chance to appeal it, rescind it, suspend it, so that guy gets to play in his next match? I think it sets a bad precedent for FIFA and international soccer. I just think it does.
Well, and there were some people saying they weren't sure if they were going to appeal it because sometimes if you look at the history when it comes to soccer, a one-game suspension all of a sudden could become a 3 to 5 game suspension when they review the play.
Yeah, well, listen, I totally agree with you. It shouldn't have been a red card at first, but once you've made that decision, stick to it. Don't waffle on it because now every other team that gets a red card is going to do the same thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes forward with FIFA. The Sounders have an early practice today so they can get off the field to watch the match. And we caught up with head coach Brian Schmetzer earlier this morning, and we start with his thoughts on Balogun being allowed to play.
Well, that was the big news nationally. A lot of people internationally, I should say, because, look, there was a lot of fallout from that decision. Now, if you get some of the details about, certain other situations that FIFA has kind of, has made some decisions, you might be able to come up with a narrative that fits to say that it's the sporting or the right thing to do. But certainly, I read some of the comments from the Belgium contingent, and they're not happy. But look, at the end of the day, we as coaches, we coach our teams, who's ever available. Some of the political stuff I like to, stay out of. But man, what a big decision. And gives the U.S. a real boost and lift. Not that they needed it, because I think they have a deep squad, but certainly Balogun, one of the top players on our national team and maybe in the tournament as well.
Yeah, leads the team, coach, in goals, definitely provides a boost. Let's just break down the matchup from a whole. Belgium's here because they're very good. They have one of the best goalies. We'll break down his game, their defense. They have world-class forwards. Just your thoughts on this matchup tonight.
Well, I think Belgium's headed in the right direction. They started off with a couple of draws, and people were saying, well, they're a little old, and Lukaku, but man, they've picked it up a little bit. That last game against Senegal was a hard match, and they found a way to go through. So yeah, you're talking about De Bruyne, you're talking about Lukaku, you're talking about Courtois, you're talking about some of the remainder of the golden generation, but Tielemans, the guy who makes things work, the captain, I think he's a tremendous player. A lot of talent on that Belgium squad.
Their goalie, Courtois, I started watching some video. I would maybe tell the U.S. players not to watch the video as I was watching, because he's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, well, Tommy Dutra would love to have him. But look, he's been a top number one goalkeeper for a lot of his career, and rightly so, deservedly so. He's able to make the big saves because he's a big man. He's 6'6", and he looks imposing in front of the net.
Hey, Brian, in the U.S.-Belgium friendly, Jeremy Doku was part of the 3 goals against the U.S. He hasn't really done much in this World Cup. How dangerous is he as a player?
Paul, it's an unknown, because you're absolutely correct. The 5-2 thrashing, because I watched that game. I mean, that was not an easy game to watch, and Doku was a big part of it. He gave the U.S. defenders fits. And so his World Cup so far, he had the birth of his child, he had some illness, he had some things. I'm hoping, being a U.S. fan, I'm hoping he doesn't get it all together for tonight's game. But, he's certainly a dangerous player, plays at one of the biggest clubs in the world. So, top talent.
Brian, no one knows the soccer crowd in Seattle better than you. The soccer IQ for Seattle fans, very, very high. How much will that play an advantage in this match? Obviously, it didn't matter. I mean, that Mexico-England game was absolutely incredible, but let's just focus here in Seattle. Tell me about the home field advantage tonight and what it could mean for the U.S.
Well, you bring up a good point, Chris. I mean, look, Mexico, got a boost from their crowd. I was watching the game. You could hear it through the TV. Tonight, we're going to be live, and we're going to hear it. We're going to feel it. The players are going to feel the atmosphere. That Australia game was just intense, impressive. Not just the volume of the noise, but certainly all the conversations that were happening in the stands. The U.S. getting off to a really good start in that game. I think the fans are going to lift our national team. I think when we hear the Star Spangled Banner, I don't know what else they have planned, flyovers or anything like that. I know the players are going to feel it inside, and hopefully that gives them the right motivation to start the game off on the front foot, because I think that's what we need.
Man, Seattle played to rave reviews in that last match when the U.S. played Australia. Really, any match in this town has been just incredible to the viewership. What would a win for the U.S. today mean to the United States, Brian, when it comes to elevating the sport of soccer in the entire country?
Well, I think this World Cup has a little bit already, but you would supercharge that by, having the United States go to a quarterfinal. I mean, that would really be something else. It would be the longest, I think I heard today, the 6 games in the World Cup. I know in 2002, we made it to a quarterfinal. Some of those benchmarks that this team is laying down for the future certainly does lend itself to, thinking about the bigger ramifications of a win here against Belgium. And, fingers crossed, we have a good performance and we keep this train moving down the tracks.
And with that in mind, I mean, you're working with your players a little bit later on today for the Seattle Sounders. I mean, this could obviously help the growth of the MLS and the Sounders as well, too, right, Coach?
It's already been good. Yeah. Look, Belgium's down here at our facility. Players have interacted a little bit, mingled a little bit when there's some crossover in the training times. Rudy Garcia is a fantastic man. I've gotten to know him, so I appreciate our conversations. So, yeah, it does spark a little bit of, extra enthusiasm in our trainings because we're watching really good games on TV and in the stands. in Seattle Stadium. So that's translating a little bit to our training sessions.
All right, Coach, we need to bring up Paul on this shot because it was on this show that we talked about the incredible storylines with you before the World Cup. Obviously, Norway's become a great storyline. We already talked about Mexico and England. But Paul was on this set with us, Coach, just raving about Ronaldo, the greatest of all time. But I tell you what, Coach, I'm watching this young man by the name of Messi. He's showing me like
he's 38,
he's
Chris.
the GOAT, Paul.
He's not a young
he
man.
is the GOAT.
And everybody's got an opinion.
Everybody's got an opinion. I've got an opinion. Look, they're both fantastic players. You know, does he have enough to help Portugal, beat Spain? That's a big ask. Ronaldo's a tremendous player, but that's a big ask because I think Spain has played their way into being one of the favorites. Argentina, Messi, obviously that's the story. Mbappe with France, Norway. What a great game that was for them, beating 6-time champion Brazil. So absolutely fantastic games in this World Cup, whether you're a Ronaldo fan, a Messi fan, a Holland fan now, all the Norwegians from around Seattle, Ballard, they got to be excited for this World Cup.
I'm glad you brought up Erling Haaland, man. He is fun to watch. He's a big man out there, too. So another,
big man.
Yeah, he is definitely fun to watch, and hopefully Norway can. But I got to ask you this, Coach. I mean, it does seem like some of these groups are more favorable to teams. I don't like Portugal having to play Spain in a round of 16.
That's a tough draw, but you see them picking the balls out of the dishes or however they do the draw. I mean, sometimes you get a favorable draw, and sometimes you don't. That's a marquee matchup: Spain versus Portugal.
Listen, we could talk soccer with you for hours, and I know we got to let you go. You got your own practice to get to. Thank you for your time, Coach. We're really looking forward to the Sounders getting back on the field as well. So enjoy the game tonight.
All right, we will. And our first game back is Portland, so that'll be a good one. And we're going to play on the grass. It'll be the last game that grass will be on the field. So we're looking forward to it.
There he is, Brian Schmetzer, head coach of the Seattle Sounders. I actually wish they'd just keep the grass. I know it would be hard with the football season to keep it nice like this. And speaking of nice, Paul, take a look right now. I mean, we are all over it on the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show. How about that? That's the lawnmower cam right there, Paul. This is the only sports show in town with a lawnmower cam, and we bring it to you. They're doing a little California trimmer crosscut right now, getting it ready to roll.
Chris, I don't know if we're all over. We're just showing a guy cutting the grass.
Well,
no matter how you frame it.
You too could sponsor that lawnmower cam if you want.
All right. We've talked about Christian Pulisic on this show, Christian Roldan, and now it's time to bring in another Christian Balderas, who is with the American fans over at Victory Hall. Christian?
Hey guys, good morning. So they're currently about to get, they're still getting set up over here at Victory Hall. It's been a hot spot for a lot of these World Cup matches. You can see this line is already building. The doors aren't open for about another 30 minutes, but these guys got here pretty early. Now, this is supposed to be the house of the devil. So for Belgian fans, supposed to be a lot of red jerseys out here, but right now we're just seeing a lot of red, white, and blue and American flags. Now, a super fan for Belgium, actually, who I interviewed not too long ago, was telling me that he noticed that there were just thousands of people who've been showing up to the games that he's been following, and this time for this game he noticed that there's been a slight downturn. And so if it continues like this, I mean, maybe he is right. Now, I just actually heard from one of the attendants over here. They're actually splitting off the two different teams. So American fans are going to be entering through the front here. Belgian fans are going to enter through the back. So hopefully the rivalries will be a little bit separate this afternoon. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Christian. I'm talking about just getting jacked up early on, man. The game doesn't start till 5, and things are starting to roll. Beautiful day to be downtown and enjoying the action.
Well, I think a lot of people are taking today off, and the march to the match could be one of the biggest ever in city's history. I think there's also a lot of conversation out there, Paul. Who's going to bring out the game ball? We saw Trinity Rodman do that when the U.S. played Australia. There's talk. There's maybe, will it be Dempsey? Will it be Casey Keller? How about Ken Griffey Jr.? Will Ferrell maybe flying into town? Whoever, it's going to be some fun to see all the the national anthem going on, singing John Denver's song. It's going to be a big.
Oh, you bring up all those names. I think seeing Griffey out there would be awesome, man.
Yeah.
So everybody has a choice. We'll see who that lucky player and person is.